Good morning and welcome to the Great Transition Senior Living Seminar. We are here to tackle what could be kind of a tough topic today, navigating end-of-life matters with courage and clarity, and we're really glad to have you all in the room with us today. And we're also glad to welcome those who are with us on Facebook Live. Let's see, make a little adjustment. Okay. Great Transitions, as you may well know, was founded in 2013, and today we are recognizing our 100th seminar here in the Winter Park area, and I'm grateful that our founder is with us today. Paul Henderson is in the back of the room. Hello, Paul. We have some people that are here today that maybe the last time you were here, Paul was behind this podium. Yeah, well, he goes on vacation all the time now, so you're stuck with me. But I'm really glad to have you here today, Paul. And if you are thinking of taking a trip, talk to Paul after the seminar, because he and his wife go to Europe for about 6 weeks at a time with carry-on luggage. So I think they are rock stars. I don't think I could do that. All right, so thank you, Paul, for being here today and for starting this seminar series. Really appreciate it.
Beth, they're not stuck with you. They're lucky.
Thank you, Paul. Very kind, very kind. So why do we do this? Great Transitions is a system for working with seniors and their families as their lifestyle and housing needs change. It can be sometimes, 3 to 5 years before somebody's ready to make a move or make a change, or sometimes it can be a matter of weeks. Maybe a life event or medical circumstance causes us to make a change. And that's why our mantra here at the Great Transitions Senior Living Seminar Series is make a plan. We want you to have a plan so that you can execute it at any time when you're ready, or maybe when you're not quite ready, but yet you have the plan so you can get through it. Or if something happens, you pull it off the shelf and you execute it right away. And we're here to guide you through the entire process. We genuinely believe that helping and guiding seniors is our greatest calling, and it's a privilege and an honor to do so. So our objective here, and every time we meet, is to provide education. We encourage you to come for education, stay for connection. We are never going to try and sell you anything. The educational partners that are in the room with us are here for that very same reason as well. They're educators. They have a servant's heart and they want to help. So don't be afraid to ask questions or to mark on your survey form that you'd like to get connected with them. But we always ask you some questions. And can I tell you how excited I was when I was in a meeting in a community and one of our attendees said this very thing. She said, "Who's going to be tasked with making decisions for you when you're no longer able to do so?" And I thought, it's working. It's working. Will you agree with the decisions that they make? And have you shared your plan with your all-star team or your family, your trusted advisors, those people that are going to execute that plan for you when you can't? So keep that in the back of your mind. And with that, we are going to tackle the topic of navigating end-of-life matters. A lot of people don't want to talk about this at all. And in fact, according to AARP, we've got some statistics. 83% of older adults say that they understand the end-of-life transition is an important part of life. But 35% of these same people say there's no reason to talk about dying. You die when you die, and there isn't anything you can do about it. And what they're failing to see is that there are things you can do in advance of dying. You know, we can't buy our way out of death. That old saying, nothing's certain but death and taxes. I mean, you could not pay your taxes, but we are all going to die. We've all been born, we're all going to die. And we're the only creatures on earth that leave stuff behind when we die. I was at one of the communities yesterday, and we talked about we've never seen a U-Haul at a funeral, right? You can't take it with you. So our goal here today is to talk through some of those issues, because the more we talk about it, the easier it is to talk about. And we can make things easier on our trusted loved ones, our all-star team, the people that are going to be taking care of things when we're done. I talked to a lady yesterday who is in the midst of downsizing, and she said her son came to her and said, I didn't really think you needed to be moving out of the house because this is the house I grew up in, but I'm really grateful that you are. And you're doing all of this now, so I don't have to do it, right? So with that said, we're going to jump into learning about end-of-life matters, and I'd love for our panelists to introduce themselves to you and tell them a little bit about yourself. Dr. Dow, would you mind going first?
Yes, of course. My name is Dr. Doe, D-O-U. I work for Vitas. I've been with Vitas for 8 years. And I'm from Nicaragua originally. I was raised in Miami, and now I just moved to Orlando area approximately 5 years ago. I love what I do. When I got invited to teach, I was so happy to meet with her. She should be a comedian. She is like such a great speaker. I love you. So
I did not pay her anything.
You're so good. You're so good. So it's all about educating. I also like educating the physicians. So we do a lot of doctors' dinners. We want to teach what we offer to the families and the patients. We like to teach about just hospice in general. So that's what we're doing today. So I'm very happy to meet you, and we're going to have questions later, whatever you want to ask.
Awesome. Alexis?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Alexis. I am the Vitas representative that covers the Winter Park area. I want to thank you, Beth and Nicole, for giving us this opportunity to come in and educate, because hospice is a very scary word, but we're here to hopefully enlighten some of you all that it's not as scary as it sounds, and it can actually be a beautiful thing when you allow us to support and honor your wishes.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you both for being here. So we're going to jump right in. Dr. Doe, when do most people start talking about end-of-life matters? And what might be the downside to putting it off for a long time?
So most of our patients, they do it at the end of life. Some might never do it. So we are left with families struggling, guilt. They don't know what the mom or dad wanted. So we want to start the conversations early, anytime. Just start with your young kids. Just what you would want at the end of life. So that's why we do these seminars, because we want to make sure that you feel comfortable having the conversations. And is there a downside? That's the downside, that you leave the responsibility to somebody else. And statistics say that most of the time, your children are not gonna want the same thing that you wanted, or your closest family member. So it's a big like conflict. So that's why we like to teach you and tell you it's never too early.
I love that. My dad passed away in August, and we had not had a lot of those conversations, but because of the work that I've done with you all and at the seminar series, I knew there were things we were going to have to talk about.
Wow.
And it was hard when it was close.
Yeah.
And so I think it's much easier. So I talk to my son about it now all the time, because it's easier. It doesn't feel as close. So thank you for unpacking that.
Of course.
Alexis, we get a lot of terms thrown around: palliative care, hospice care. I know in my own personal experience, my family did not want to talk to hospice because it was like, well, we're not there yet. And I'm like, but I really think we could get some help.
Yes.
Can you unpack that for us?
I would love to. So unfortunately, hospice does have a big misconception. As we were mentioning, a lot of families start talking about hospice at the very end of life. Really, ideally, if we want to start this hospice end of life conversation, we want to do it 6 months to a year before anything happens, if not longer. We've had patients on VITAS for 4 or 5 years and still on for cardiac or dementia. That unfortunately seems to be the slowest progressing disease. So our dementia patients tend to be on the longest and benefiting the longest. But you mentioned palliative. So palliative care is just a specific type of hospice. They're similar but not the same.
Okay.
Palliative care is a little bit more focused on curing something. It's specialized care on relief, symptom relief, pain relief. But the difference between palliative and hospice is that hospice focuses more on comfort. You can receive palliative while still also seeking and receiving aggressive treatment. For example, cancer patients. They can possibly receive something palliative while still receiving chemoradiation. Whereas with hospice, we're focusing on those patients that have maybe decided chemoradiation is no longer an option for me. It's too painful for me. It's taking too much out of me and my family. I want to focus on being comfortable, having quality of life, however much of that is. And then I want to be surrounded with my friends and families and loved ones, and hospice is able to provide that additional support to them. So similar but different.
Okay.
VITAS is able to provide palliative measures, but every patient is different, every case is different. So, I could talk about this one subject for a couple hours, but that's essentially, it's a type of hospice.
Okay. So let's say someone has a terminal diagnosis, they're considering their options. Do they have to wait until they have their plan in place to call hospice? If they don't have a plan, does hospice help them put a plan together?
That's a great question, because we do come across families that, they don't know anything that's going on or they don't have anything planned. Choosing hospice does not mean you need to have something in place already.
Okay.
Anyone can essentially give VITAS a call and say, I'm interested in having a conversation with someone from your staff to answer some clinical questions, any kind of question. It is a very sensitive subject, so it's not a dinner table conversation a lot of families can have, but we always encourage them. We are able to have and guide families and their loved ones with that end-of-life plan. It is not necessary to have it already when you're choosing to possibly open this conversation, but we have the staff. We have social workers, nurse practitioners, and chaplains that can help navigate and answer questions.
I love that. We used to do this talk at the end of the year in November, part of our legacy series. And in my discussions with VITAS last fall, we felt it was better to do it in the spring because we're more in tune to making plans, right? And thinking about that. In the fall, we're thinking about the holidays and family gatherings, and we don't really want to talk about that stuff there, right? Not over the dinner table, like you just said. That's such a downer, Mom. Right? Yeah. It kind of, well, I won't go there. All right. Okay, so Alexis, maybe you can start with this.
Okay.
How does someone go into hospice? Do you have to get a referral from a doctor to do so?
We can go that route, but we also have a website or a VITAS app where you yourself can either call us or let us know you're interested. Go on the website, essentially refer yourself or your loved one. It doesn't mean you're signing a contract. There's no commitment. It's just a conversation. But also if your doctor has that conversation and probably thinks it could be beneficial to you or your loved one, they could also send that referral.
Okay. Dr. Doe, you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, so let's say you have a friend or your parents and you're asking the question, should I be in hospice or not? you can ask your doctor, your primary or the mothers or fathers or friends, can you refer to hospice or not? You can just call the line and say, I'm interested, I want more information. Like you said, is you're not signing anything. Also, what was the question? I want to ask
How
you
do we
for
sign up for
your
hospice?
forgiveness, because I have very ill patients and I'm gonna be receiving texts. So, so sign up with hospice. So to be in hospice, you have to have a prognosis of less than 6 months or less of life. So who's gonna say that? Because we don't know. Only God knows what's 6 months. So we have a criteria. We have to meet check mark. So most doctors, they do have an idea of when you are ready for hospice. You have to have a terminal disease that you have to be dependent in 2 of your ADLs, which is your daily living activities like bathing or dressing, that you're no longer able to. Most of our patients are dementia patients. So we have dementia, cancer, we have lung disease like emphysema. You have to need oxygen to be in hospice. So some people have to do check mark. And if you meet that criteria, even if we don't know that you're gonna live 6 months, but at least you have to meet the minimum criteria, we can offer you the services. And the services are that we offer nurses to go to your home. We offer CNAs to help you bathe your loved one or yourself. We have chaplains going to talk to you about spiritual. We have social workers to help you find out partners where they can help you legal. So we are a whole team of people going to your home to help you. So you don't need to, I cannot, as a doctor, go to your home and say you have 6 months or less. But at least if you meet the minimum criteria, we can offer you the services. We have people that are with us for days, and we have people that are with us for years. As long as we are checking that the disease is not getting better, and that you still have the disease and that you still need help, we can offer you the services. So it's different ways you can start with us. Most common, the doctor will talk to you and tell you, we should have somebody at home to help you. They will refer to hospice, but there's no need to have the doctor referral. We always reach to them because we want to be on the same page. We want them to support us, but you can still continue going to your primary doctor even if you have hospice at home.
And you can ask your doctor if he or she thinks it might be a good idea for you to talk to hospice.
Yeah.
What happens if the family of a patient wants hospice, but after meeting with the patient, you discover the patient doesn't want hospice, or vice versa? Maybe the patient wants hospice, but the family doesn't. How does hospice encourage patients to make an end-of-life plan when they don't feel it's something that they need to do for their family or their friend circle?
Yeah. So it's the word hospice is a taboo. The family says, we're gonna enroll you in hospice. It's very difficult. The most easiest for us is when the patient wants to be in hospice and the family doesn't want them to be. So it's easier because if you have capacity to make the decision, we enroll you, and then as we come and they see how much we care, how much we're giving you, we're easy to convince the family. Okay, we're not here to kill anybody. We're here to help. We're here to give support, and they end up loving us because they see how much we are helping the family, the patient or the family. Now, when there's a family when it's the patient that doesn't want, it's very hard. So we have the team, we have nurse practitioners do goals of care. What is it that you wish for? And we try to teach the patient, we are here to help you. And if they're not ready, at least they know that we're there when they are ready. But it's mostly like visiting to help them understand what we are offering, to convince them.
Good.
Yeah.
I found in my personal experience, there is great permission to ask questions. And it's, I think by and large, the people that work for hospice are a special group of people that are very empathetic and compassionate and patient. So,
You wanna
And-
add anything?
What I
About
like to
if the patient is not ready or the family is not ready,
I
the
will say,
misconceptions.
yeah, the misconception, we do come across it a lot, especially in a hospital setting. We find that there's always some kind of family dynamic, which I think will, segue great into our next question.
yeah.
But I'll go ahead and let you ask the question,
Okay.
and then we can keep talking about it. Because like I said, I love what we do. I'm very passionate about it, so I can talk about it forever. But I don't know if you guys will want me here all day.
You can skip lunch. So let's talk about that, Alexis. How do you encourage hospice patients to plan what their memorials might look like? Frequently, there are people that say, I don't want a service, I don't want to do anything. So how do you help the family deal with loss and possibly a lack of closure?
We gently encourage our families and our patients to start having that conversation. It's never too early. I like to share a little story with everybody that when I started with Vitas 4 years ago, it gave me a whole new perspective because given that I'm from the Hispanic culture, hospice is very taboo with us. So once I started working with hospice, I started asking my dad, what would you like, if anything, God forbid, happens, or, what would you want me to do for you? And he started saying things like, I don't know if that job is for you. I don't know if you're in the right line of work. But, it really opens up your eyes that it's really, truly never too early because now everybody has a plan. My brothers who are younger than me, God forbid something happens, but you never know when your last day on earth will be. So we all have plans. And I like to share that because I want to let our patients and their loved ones know that it's never too early to have that. If it's a memorial, if it's a celebration of life, if it doesn't always have to be sad. I mean, I like to say the first few letters of funeral is fun. So let's celebrate your life. It shouldn't always have to be
Write that down.
Yeah. But I've been to so many celebrations of life where we're remembering the impact they made on people's lives.
Yeah.
We do have, again, the chaplains. The nurse practitioners really are the ones that have that advanced directive conversation with their patients and their families because a lot of times clinical questions are brought up. And what would happen if this, takes its course? Or, what is an advanced directive, a living will, a durable power of attorney? And as we've heard, we have great partners here that have a lot more experience in that little niche, but we love to be able to have at least the basic conversation with their patients and families.
And I think we talk about loved ones and families, but for a lot of us, it's our friends. I was at a memorial service on Monday for my mom's first cousin, so my second cousin, once removed, or however that works. And it was good to be with the family, but the people that were most emotional were her friends and neighbors that she saw every day.
Yeah.
And so, the family, but our friends are our family.
Yeah.
Right? And our loved ones. So, just an observation. Yeah?
I can add to that. Even I have experience in groups like this where that have people come up to me and say, I didn't know. I should have known this so I can advise my loved one, my friend that passed without help. So this is very important. You keep it in your mind. Even might not be for you, but for your friends. Yeah, that's a good point.
Love that. Alexis, if a patient is in hospice, maybe in their home, and they have a medical emergency and the family member panics and calls 911, which is not the typical protocol with hospice, how does all of that flush out?
We always encourage our patients and our loved ones to call Vitas first. We do have the ability to triage over the phone and determine what the best course of action would be, if that means sending a nurse bedside to try to alleviate some of that pain or symptom that our patient is feeling. But we understand that their loved one, their caregiver, it's usually the spouse, and they're usually about the same age. So it's a lot easier to call 911. So we never tell you cannot call 911. We encourage you to call VITAS. If you do call 911 and you end up at the hospital, VITAS will have a nurse that follows you to the hospital. So we'll see you every day while you're there with the goal of transitioning back to the home setting. Because we want to make sure that we avoid hospitalizations. It's a lot of stress on our patients, on their loved ones, on the family and friends caring for them. So we do encourage it, but it's not necessary. So if it happens, it's okay. We'll see you at the hospital, again, with the goal of getting you safely back home.
Okay, great. We touched on it briefly a couple minutes ago, the legal and financial things that someone should have in place to ensure that their wishes are honored at the end of their lives. Can we talk about some of those documents?
Yes. And you have great resources. You have
We
here
do.
the legal
Lighthouse
partners.
Legal Group?
The legal partners. I'm gonna talk to them after the meeting too.
Why not?
I think that a lot of people they don't know. So with healthcare, you have to have advanced directive is like an umbrella. So you have many things that are your advance before advanced directive. The healthcare surrogate is someone you name to be your representative in case you cannot make health decisions by yourself. And some of the physicians, the offices, they do have this paper. You fill it out in the office. And there you can have copies in your home, give copies to your kids, whoever you name it. Then you have a living will. It's the same, but it's more legal. Then you have to have an attorney to do the living will. It's the same thing. You're living, and most of the living wills are only financial. If you were not able to make your decisions financially, you name a representative, and it does have a part for healthcare, and it does have a part for life saving, like a DNR. But even if you have a living will, you still have to have a DNR if you do not want to be resuscitated. So the most important thing, if you understand what a DNR is, or if you don't, ask your physician, ask me, ask any healthcare person what it means so that you can make the best decision when that time comes. And never is too early. Today, you start thinking about DNR if you want to be resuscitated or you want to, be DNR. So that paper, your PCP should have one. It's a yellow paper, and it will say, I do not want to be resuscitated in the case I have my heart stop or a cardiac arrest. I don't want to be intubated, but that's, with your PCP, you can have those discussions, and that's the best for you to leave behind with your families. You have to have a copy. You have to give a copy to everybody because you have to tell everybody what your wishes are. Most of our patients, they already have advanced dementia and they were not able to tell their kids what their wishes were. So you're, left with the guilt of, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing for them.
Yeah. Alexis, let's talk about the 5 wishes and
Okay.
how that kind of dovetails into all of these documents, because it doesn't feel like a legal document.
It does not feel, so I'm glad you mentioned wishes, Dr. Doe, because we are giving everybody a little gift today, it being the 5 wishes booklet. So it can be used as a legal document because if a doctor does sign it, it could essentially be a form of an advance directive. It's essentially going over your last 5 wishes. If the situation happens, this is what I would like. So it's 5 different scenarios essentially. You read it, go over it with your doctor, go over it with your family, and you answer truthfully and honestly to what you would like as your last 5 wishes, so that when the time comes, us as caregivers, as loved ones, as your kids, we're just honoring your last 5 wishes, whatever that may look like. As far as the financial piece of things, again, I could talk about it forever, but with hospice, Medicare covers hospice at 100%. It could be managed Medicare, straight Medicare, anyone over the age of 65 has Medicare, so that already is, nothing comes out of pocket. And that includes, like Dr. Dow has been mentioning, chaplains and social workers, the nurses, the nurse practitioners. It also includes any kind of home medical equipment, so hospital beds, oxygen tanks, walkers, wheelchairs. When we see our PCPs out in the community and our loved one is needing an oxygen tank, sometimes it takes days, if not weeks, to get authorizations, and maybe a walk test is needed to see if really someone needs that oxygen tank. With VITAS, you're able to receive it same day, along with any kind of supplies, so adult briefs and gloves and ointments and, you know, everything you could possibly need. VITAS through Medicare will provide it to you. Sometimes, and like we keep saying, there's great educational partners here, especially the community partners. Sometimes our patients live in the community and we're able to see them there as well. Especially in the memory care, a lot of times it's either Medicaid or private pay that needs to be the payer source for these facilities. And we have caseworkers that can apply for Medicaid. But if someone has a lot of income or assets, we always like to defer to our elder law attorney partners because they can do qualified income trusts and secure your income and assets so that Medicaid can be the payer for this community, because sometimes it can go from $8,000 to $10,000 a month, depending on the area and the community. So it is very expensive. As we keep saying, it's never too early to have these conversations and start planning, especially when we have such great partners here to help with all that.
Agreed. Dr. Doe, let's talk a little bit about the dying process and how that begins. A lot of times people think hospice morphine, I'm going to be out of it. How does all of that work?
Yes, so it depends on the diagnosis. So if we have a patient that has cancer, the patient can be very functional, live a life as long as they're not having any aggressive treatment anymore, like chemotherapy. They can be functional, they can be not working but walking. So for cancer patients, we have the exception. But if they are dementia, they're lung, they're heart disease, they have to have already the need to have need assistance on bathing, dressing, toileting. So when we don't know, we accept patients like at least they have to meet the minimum criteria. When the time comes, you are going to have symptoms. You're gonna have pain, you're gonna have maybe your lungs are not doing well, you're gonna have shortness of breath, you're going to have decreased appetite, you're gonna lose a lot of weight. So in the hospice specialty, end of life, we use opioids to help you with that suffering, with those symptoms. So when you go have a surgery, they're gonna give you morphine, they're going to give you, drips to decrease that pain. But in hospice, we use morphine or any opioid, oxycodone, fentanyl, any opioid to help you with shortness of breath. Because we know when your lungs are not doing well, you're gonna have shortness of breath. So we use the morphine for pain and for shortness of breath. And when you are having any symptoms where you're not feeling well, you're gonna have, most of our patients have anxiety because you're not feeling well and you're afraid. You don't know what is happening to you. You're anxious. So we also use anti-anxiety medications to relax you. So what happens with morphine? Morphine, we use a concentrated drops that are in your mouth. So it's not that we use morphine, it's that this is the only options that we have for you not to choke. So it's a little bit of morphine, it's a very low dose that is equivalent to a tramadol or to oxy. But people hear the word morphine and they get so afraid.
Yeah.
But morphine is what we use because we know you're gonna have trouble swallowing and we can just put a few drops and you're gonna feel comfortable. So I have people on morphine for years because they use it for emphysema where they're always short of breath, and we give them a little bit to relax them for the anxiety of not being able to breathe. But they are in morphine for years. And it's not that morphine will harm the patient, it's that morphine will help them to transition it with less suffering.
Gotcha. Thank you for
Because
clarifying
it's
that.
a lot of,
Yeah.
even with my patients, they are, no, morphine, no. And I have to explain to them, it's no different than taking one tramadol for your pain. It's just that now you're having trouble swallowing the whole pill.
Right.
And we're going to change the same dose, but to the drops.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you. The next question, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it because we don't really see it in the state of Florida, but we have people that have come from other states. VSED, voluntary stopping eating and drinking. We don't have medical assistance in this state to end life. And this is probably not commonly talked about, but how does somebody go about making a decision? Let's say I don't want to go on anymore. Can I stop eating and drinking?
What does everybody say?
You think you can?
Yeah. So in my population and my experience working with Vitas for 8 years, I have not seen it when somebody says, I'm just gonna stop drinking, and it is a legal decision. If that person wants to do it, it's a legal decision. Of course, it's part of your wishes. Of course, you have to let your family know and have that conversation before you make that decision. Most of our patients, due to the disease process, because they're advanced, they can barely breathe, they are in a lot of pain. So it's a natural process where the body just doesn't have an appetite, and you little by little stop eating. But it's not because consciously they make a decision. And of course, it's not legal here in Florida to have assisted suicide. So most of our patients, it's just natural process. But yes, if you decide that's the way you want to go, it has to be respected by everybody.
Okay, thank you. Let's jump into, and I think we've touched on this a little bit, but spiritual and existential care during this process, the importance of that. I know when my dad passed, the visits from the chaplain were amazing. That was just such a big help, a relief, a comfort, a bright spot in the day. Can you talk about the spiritual side of it? Maybe Dr. Doe first and then Alexis?
Okay. Yeah, so like we say, we have a comprehensive team. We have chaplains and social workers. Our chaplains offer not only to the patient, you're struggling with a new diagnosis, you're struggling with not being independent anymore. So a lot of emotional struggles. So chaplains are like a big part of the team. We always encourage people, please accept our chaplain. Not only the patient, the family, they're struggling with understanding what's going on and why they cannot do more, and existentially and guilt. And so for me, the best relationship I have is with the chaplain. Can you please go offer this family? And everybody's different. Some families are more ready than others. Some families I go and the patient has their obituary written, and this is what you're gonna say when I die, and this is what you're gonna do. And the family is like, no, we're ready. The patient is suffers so much, we're ready. So I have so many different families, but if you're struggling, we encourage our chaplains to visit very often, once a week, every day, whatever you need.
Okay.
I would like to say that we with Vitas, we recognize that it's not only just physical pain, it's emotional pain.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you get stressed and distressed. And so, yes, we do have our chaplains. We have the social workers that can help with the psychosocial things as well, because as we've mentioned, there's always, I'm not going to say always, but there's oftentimes family dynamics within our loved ones. And that causes a lot more stress and a lot more anxiety, because now everybody has different ideas of what things should look like.
Yeah.
But with our chaplains, we really encourage them. We do also offer bereavement for 13 months, because we also know that 1 year anniversary is always the toughest. And within those 13 months, we have support groups. We have what we call memory bears as well. And that's where our volunteers were hand sewn out of their loved one's clothing, a bear about this big. And you get to keep that forever. And I think once a year, anybody who would like to go with the memory bear can go to a banquet that we host, and they can share stories of their loved ones. So there's always support. And as Dr. Doe mentioned, it's something new for everybody. Not everybody gets to deal with what we deal with every day on a daily. So it's something new most of the time for most families that we come across. So just coming to terms that my loved one is now sick and my loved one is now needing additional support, or what does that look like, and what can I do to help? And so we have those conversations pretty often. And like Dr. Doe mentioned, our chaplains play a big part of that.
Do you have to have a religious affiliation to have a chaplain?
No, our chaplains are non-denominational, but we have been in the community for so long that our chaplains have wonderful relationships with the churches, with anybody in the community. So if one of our patients requests a priest or a rabbi, we're able to accommodate that for them.
Okay, great.
And just to add, the memory bears. If you know somebody that sews, we need volunteers, so you can refer, because this is such a beautiful, rewarding. If you volunteer with us and you help other people go through what they're doing, it's beautiful.
It is. I have a bear of my dad's shirt, so, and it means a lot.
Yes. I have two of my grandmas. My grandma was on Vitas.
Mhm.
She passed away, unfortunately, on Father's Day, so my dad didn't take that very well. But what we got out of it was not only the care that we were able to provide, so it also gave me a new perspective of what our staff can do. I'm not just saying what we can do. Now I can really truly say this is what Vitas can offer.
Mhm.
But the best thing out of that was the memory bears. And
Yeah.
so my dad has them. He gave one to his brother. I mean, there's 8 siblings between them, and let me tell you, family dynamics it's still happening.
The bears
But,
might
yeah.
need to go on a visit.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the memory bears were a beautiful piece that came out of that.
I love that. I love that. And family dynamics, every family has them,
Yeah.
or friend dynamics, and I think times like these they just raise it
Yes.
all up to the surface. And so
Yeah.
having that plan is super important. We've got a couple more things that I just want to hit on, and then we'll have a little Q&A time. Dr. Joe, the role of hydration at end of life, especially if somebody has issues with dry mouth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So at the end of life, most families, like I said, most of our patients are dementia patients. They cannot make their decisions. So most families feel that they are starving the patient if they are not giving food, if the patient is not drinking anymore, because it's the natural process. So they will say, can we provide hydration? Can we do IV fluids? So we try those cases in a case-by-case basis. What happens when you provide fluids to a person that I'm not doing labs to? We can increase the electrolytes, we can cause harm. If the kidneys are not working, we can overload the lungs and they can fill out fluids and you choke more and we're doing more harm. So we always try to educate. Are we curing why the person is not drinking? We're not. So we're just putting like a band-aid. We are putting a little bit of fluids that we can be harmed. So I try to educate, and if it's needed, like the person is going through a flu or going through a diarrhea or going through some viral infection, it's okay. We do hydration on a case by case, but some families are very unrealistic and they just feel the guilt that they want to give everything and they want the IV fluids. So sometimes you can do more harm. Yeah.
If someone passes, or when someone passes and they are on hospice, how is that different from someone who passes who is not on hospice?
So when they are in hospice, and most of the time you're gonna have something happening to your body. A symptom. You could be pain, you could be just agitated. It depends on the symptom. We can offer 24/7 nurses and CNAs at home to help you through that process with you and your family. If you pass, the family just call Vitas, and they most 99% of our patients, because of the team and because of our teaching, they already have plans. Some happen unexpectedly and it's life, but most of the people already have their funeral arrangement and everything is very smooth. They call Vitas, and me as a doctor, I sign the death certificate, natural causes of the death. And you don't have to call the police, you don't have to call rescue. Sometimes the patients are in the hospital. Let's say you go and you have something happening where the doctor said there's no more to do. You can also have Vitas at the hospital, where you have a team of us go to the hospital and we recommend only comfort measures. Your family will be there with you and it's very smooth, not any aggressive treatment. You can be in the nursing home and you can be having the 24/7 at your bedside in the nursing home, giving you comfort measures, and the family can be with you also. So with hospice, wherever your home is, we will bring the 24/7 to where you are. And you're gonna have somebody at bedside. And sometimes the families are not able to be with the patient 24/7, but they appreciate somebody being there to hold your hand. So you're not alone dying there by yourself.
And I love that it's one call to hospice when the event happens versus, oh, I've got to call the funeral home, oh, I've got to call the church, I've got to do all this stuff. That's really, I think, super helpful that hospice does that. Before we head into our Q&A portion, I'd like to ask you both, and maybe Alexis, let's start with you. What is one action that you would like to compel our audience to take as a result of what they've learned today here about the end-of-life process?
To have the conversation today, tonight, tomorrow. It is never too early. I think we've said it a bunch of times. It's just really, truly the most important thing and really a gift that you can give your loved ones, because when that time comes, because unfortunately we cannot prevent the inevitable from happening.
Mm-hmm.
Paul mentioned we haven't figured that part out yet. But it is truly a gift because we're just honoring, and you can be rest assured that when the time comes, your family, your kids, they won't have that stress, they won't have that burden, they won't have to feel guilty trying to figure out what my parent would have wanted.
Yeah.
So have the conversation is what I can give you guys.
Have the talk. It just keeps going back to having the talk with your kid in about 5th grade about the facts of life. It's kind of the facts of death, right? That we have to have that conversation. Yeah. Dr. Doe?
So we're giving you the booklet today, the 5 wishes. You can find it online. I think you can buy it also. But just fill it out and share it with everybody close to you. And if you have a parent, also ask them the question, what do you want? And give them the booklet for them to fill out. Just talk to everybody, not only for your wishes, but your kids' wishes. Something happens to them, what would you want me to do for you? So that's important, the conversations.
Okay. Did you learn anything? Yeah. I'm like, whew. We are going to take some questions. If anybody has some, and our educational partners, do we have a microphone? Linda, you want to come up front? And maybe Drew. Sometimes it's easier if you stand towards the front to see. I know Cheryl has a question on the front row here, Linda, if you can get over there.
We love questions. Love them.
Alexis, you
Yes, ma'am.
mentioned at the beginning that you were VITAS from Winter Park.
Yes, ma'am.
So for my area, which is Lake Mary, is there like VITAS for Lake Mary?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah,
That's a
let
great question.
me just repeat that in case anybody didn't hear it. Are there different hospice organizations in different areas? Does VITAS have other branches?
So VITAS is actually one of the largest in the nation. We are nationwide as well. VITAS is so big that we cover the entire state of Florida. So when I say I'm the VITAS VITAS representative for Winter Park, I oversee essentially the facilities, the doctor's offices, and the hospital here. Whereas for Lake Mary or somewhere else, it'll be a different VITAS rep, but still the same company.
So I would just call VITAS and then find out.
Yes, ma'am. Or if you want to reach out to Dr. Nicole, they have my contact and they can reach out to me that way.
And Alexis was super helpful, and so was Laura.
Yeah.
When my dad was last year, because they're in Polk County, so it wasn't the same, but I got a lot of my questions answered here first, and that was super helpful.
Let me add to that. So we're in the whole state, but every region has a program. So Central Florida is our program. And we have like 20 doctors. We have like 2,000 patients just in Orlando, Central Florida area. So every county is a different program. So I come from Dade. Dade is the biggest program. We are the second biggest program in the nation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Any other questions?
Was it as scary as you thought it was going to be?
I don't think it was scary at all.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, I think it was great. Well, we appreciate you all being here with us and making what can be a scary topic
Yes.
much more palatable. So thank you very much. Did we try and sell you anything? Besides the Five Wishes book, which is free, right? Everybody's gonna get that. That's part of your gift bag that we're giving you when you leave today. But we do, much like Alexis and Dr. Doe said, we always ask the question as to what are you going to do with the information that you learned today. So I hope you've taken some notes. You'll refer back to them in your binder. And you'll share the information with your friends and family, even if it's just to find out more information about hospice, right? You're our connection to the world, and as we expand this community, we ask for your help to bring a friend, bring a neighbor, bring a family member when you come to our next seminar. Don't forget to write your name on the blue sheet. We're going to be taking all of those. You can give it to me or to Nicole or to one of our educational partners. We go through those, and it helps us to help you. So we appreciate you doing that. One more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I wanted to add that hospice, Vitas, we have been since 1979. We have been open since 1979. But it's something that is growing by the years. We're growing, we're teaching. Some physicians, they do not feel comfortable with the conversations with the patients. So it is your job to bring the conversation to your physician. And sometimes they refer to us and say, I think this patient might need hospice, and it's too early. The patient is not there yet, but at least, we're starting to normalize the conversations because it's very scary. And like she said, in the Hispanic community, say, no, let's not talk about it. So that's why, I do a lot of talks for physicians. We do a lot of teaching. And appreciate if you are the advocate for yourself and your family. Even if your doctor, doesn't bring it up, you bring it up to them. Yes.
Okay.
So I have a question. I realize there's many variables, but in your studies and your experience, is there an average age that you would select for, not select, but be aware of for men or for women when they get into those final years?
So does hospice look at age at all?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Because we know that there could be an 85-year-old running a marathon and a 65-year-old that.
We actually,
Is it a
believe it or
wheelchair?
not, we actually have a pediatric team. So it's from the moment
Babies?
they're born to,
Okay.
we're able to
All
support
ages.
them.
Yeah.
All
Awesome.
ages.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We go by diagnosis and prognosis, not age.
Okay. Thank you.
Great question.
Our next seminar is March 19th right here, and the seminar after that is April 2nd. So they're very close together. And it's a part A and a part B, or a part 1 and a part 2. We're going to talk next month about mind and body, physical, the health that we need there. And then on the April 2nd seminar, we're going to talk about health of the brain. Also something that a lot of people don't want to talk about or avoid talking about, but we're going to jump into that as well. So we encourage you to be here. We'll keep you posted. Last year when we talked about the brain, Conquest brought their mobile unit, and we may be having them bring the mobile unit again. And I did my brain test baseline last year, and you can too. It's very easy. We always like to close our seminars with a quote. And today's is very fitting. The end of life deserves as much beauty, care, and respect as the beginning. Don't be afraid to talk about it. Thank you all for coming, and we look forward to seeing you on March 19th. Thank you.